Let's do it, girl.
Hi, everyone. It's Traceface, and my guest for today to coming on the show, Dennis is coming on. Did you want me to say your name? I cannot say your name.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, because I could hit stop and re-record again. Okay, so do you want me to do that? I can do that.
No, that's fine. That's
Okay.
perfectly fine, girl.
Just showing us having Dennis and I having a typical Saturday afternoon over here.
Right.
Dennis
Right.
does not want to be, Dennis is going to tell his story today, you guys, and some people it's not about showing your face on the internet. That's why a lot of people go podcast style. As we know, I've already come out with all of it 2 years ago, so there's no turning back for me now. but but Dennis is going to tell his story with everyone today, and it's a pretty good one, and I think that it's going to give a lot more perspective out there to the male subscriber of what you possibly are going through and can relate. Before we get started, I just wanted to say a very uh warm thanks from the bottom of my heart from PC for your beautiful Christmas gift that you gave me, and Valerie for your generous donation to the channel, and for Timothy your generous donation to the channel as well. Guys, your donations keep my channel going, and I can't thank you enough. Um, I can't thank you enough. And also, just don't forget to hit the like button, share, subscribe. Make sure you're sharing these videos with others out there through your other social media platforms to get this word out about these people. All right, so Dennis, yeah, you have quite the story, and I know a lot of people are gonna be interested to hear what you have to say, and the unfortunate pain that you endured, but to be where you're at right now is pretty incredible. So get started wherever you want, buddy.
Okay. I guess I'll just start right at the beginning. Yeah, the main reason I'm really doing this, Tracy, is I just want to help people understand, because basically I've had my head up my butt for my last 35 years of my life, and basically from the very beginning, I was programmed with all these love songs and the rock songs about, you know, you're the only one for me and I'm never going to give you up and all that crap. So I basically really bought into all that. And, I was a product of a single mother, which probably didn't help at all, being, pleasing the mother type thing, pleasing a woman type thing. But it basically started, we were really young when we met. We were only, I think, both 19. So she was in college and I was out of high school, and, I was doing pretty good. I had a good job, decent pay, just doing really well. I got an early promotion, climbing the ladder. Well, then along came, I'll just say her name right away. I don't think that's going to be too big of a deal either. Lisa. And we met, and, I'd kind of a reputation right off the bat that I knew about. She had slept with one of my buddies. And, so she already kind of had a reputation. Well, I met her, and being kind of, I don't know, introverted, kind of shy. And she was she was like a covert narcissist, but she was probably a little more kind of a mix between overt and covert. So she was a little flashy. And of course, I'm knocked up, she knocks my socks off, and, we fall madly in love, and it's all the love bombing and all that stuff. And man, she just had me convinced that, I was the only one. And I guess I just really thought she was into me, finding out later that she was just pretty much into anybody. But anyway, I thought it was special, and we just got along really well, and I didn't want to rush into it. I wanted to make sure that she was going to be the one. So I didn't want to rush into marriage, but just really interested in her, and really the only one I would think I was ever interested in. And
Dennis, how old were you at this point?
I think we were both 19.
You were 19. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So, naive. But but I could tell after even the first year, like her interest in me died, and I should have known something was up after that. But I just, like I said, I was kind of just naive. I didn't really know a whole lot about relationships. I've never really been in any relationships. So anyway, come about 5 years later, what I think things are going well. We decide to get married and have this reception, and but in the meantime, she had kind of driven me away from my family and my friends and kind of isolated me. They do that. They like to get you, don't want you talking to your friends, don't want you, you know what I mean, discussing her behavior with anybody. So that was the first thing that she did, is she isolated me, got me alone. So I'm basically just dependent on her. So we got married, and it was probably 5-6 years into the relationship. Well, she tells me about this affair that she had with her boss that lasted probably a year. I had no clue.
So she randomly just came out and tells you this? Like, she's like, oh, sit down, I have something to tell you type of thing?
Yes. Yep. And later on that night, she goes to bed, because she's relieved. Well, then I'm up all night. It really shook me. But being the naive guy and listening to all the songs about forgiveness and all that BS, I decide, okay, well, everybody makes a mistake. And, I can understand one mistake. But it turned into about a dozen over the course of the relationship, if you can even believe that. But during this whole time, I noticed that she was just having these constant bladder infections. I'm like, what the hell? What's going on with this? So later on, we're watching this comedy routine by Kathy Griffin, and she says, I was having so much sex, I had a bladder infection. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. I definitely wasn't getting the sex. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't a participant in any of this. So anyway, we kind of get over that, and just being naive. I guess I just was kind of ignoring all the signs. You know what I mean? Her basically undressing guys with her eyes, and she'd look at them. And I guess for me, it was a lot of confusion, just because coming from a small town, and, my parents were from a farm. So it was just, the whole thing was just really, if anything, just being naive about it. So anyway, moving on with that, we get in, we're actually still running a business now together. And at the time we were running a business together, and that's kind of why I want to keep my name under the radar, just because of
course,
I know a lot of people. So anyway, so I had this, and at the time I was living back in my home state of Wisconsin, and I had this idea. I just wanted to get out of Wisconsin. I wanted to quit my job. I wanted to move to Arizona. I mean, who doesn't want to live in Arizona, right?
Right.
So that was kind of my dream. So I moved down to Arizona. I find a place on my own. And at the time, I think at the time we had just kind of divorced. And it was more just because everything kind of felt old to me. And it was just, I wanted to kind of get away. Well, I moved to Arizona, and I was just lonely. That's probably my biggest downfall, is just the loneliness of being alone. And that was one thing I really had to deal with. But anyway, I hear back at home, she's sleeping with a couple of guys up in Wisconsin that I'd known. And after about 6 months being just so lonely, I was like, why don't you come on down? Hopefully we can just kind of get things going. We can maybe start a business of our own. So anyway, she moves down, and we were always kind of spiritual as far as going for walks and just trying to be at peace with ourselves and trying to find inner peace, inner happiness, that kind of stuff. She starts dating another guy basically on the same block, and we weren't living together at the time, but I was, just confused. Like, what, here we are, we go out, we have this great day out in the desert. We come back inside and she just wants to be with us. She wants to go on to dinner with this other guy. Well, that all happened. And at the time, we weren't married, and I'm like, well, okay. And I guess I was just, I don't know, lonely. That was probably the biggest thing for me, Trace, was just being lonely. And,
right. Well, you had been married for how many years at that point?
That's probably, going on 10, maybe 10 or 15. So it was a while, but okay. Close. We were close, kind of trauma bonded, because when she was driving away from my family, she was, I don't know, she almost like creating this conflict, and you know what I mean? My mom doesn't love me and they're not supporting us, and you got to be with me and all this stuff. So anyway, we're isolated. We're in Phoenix. We're all alone. So she's seeing this other guy, and then she literally, I guess at that spur of the moment, I don't know what was going on with her, but she sleeps with another guy that's literally on the same block. Well, he's this military guy who's literally like kind of borderline psychotic almost. And we literally like packed up everything and had to flee just because we were so afraid of what he might do. Okay. So this is, and granted, don't forget, this is all a result of her having sex with other men. Okay. This is kind of basically guiding our frickin' life. So we flee. We actually found a nice isolated place, kind of a little more out in the country, out in the desert. And it was a while that she wasn't doing anything, and she got really sick. And she was always convinced it was her thyroid and convinced it was all this other stuff. But looking back on it, I'm almost certain that she was literally going through like this withdrawal of male energy.
Yeah. Yep. God.
And she would, to me, it seems like she would rather die than give that up.
Yes. God, I relate to that. I know exactly what you're talking about. That's how it felt with my ex as well. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so anyway, I knew, just being that we were so isolated, that probably there was nothing going on at the time. Well, anyway, we moved to another city, and I knew things weren't going that well. And I think for a while we even maybe just tried, I don't know, an open relationship, where it was just like, okay, you can kind of do your own thing and I'll do my own thing. Well, that never really works out. No. And so anyway, long story short, I was still just wondering what was going on, because, when she tells you she's busy all day and the only thing she's done all day is laundry, it's like, well, what the hell else are you doing for the other 6 hours of the day? So I'm like, I have to know. I just felt like didn't know what was going on. I felt like this, here I am in this relationship, and yet I know, 50-50. And here I feel like I only know 10% of what the hell is going on. So my main decision, and really what opened my eyes, was I decided to get some computer tracking software for the computer. And I'm literally driving to the computer store and saying, Dennis, do you want to peek behind the curtain? Do you really want to know what's going on? You know what I mean? Do you really want to know? And I'm like, yeah, I need to know what's going on here. Well, I install the software, let it run for a week. And matter of fact, I even planted one of those voice activated recorders in her office, wondering what's going on. Okay. Well, it turns out she's watching porn, and I'm not talking, a little bit of porn once a week. I'm talking every day. Okay. Not only in the morning, but sometimes in the afternoon. Okay. Now, granted, she was probably having sex with me once probably 4 times a year. Okay. So here I am, I'm having sex with her once every 3 months. And here she is pleasuring herself every damn day, every day. And I confronted her about it. And man, did she get pissed off. Did she get pissed off? Like, it was her secret, and how dare I find out, and how dare I poke. And And on top of that, she's, you always talk about that leading to other things. She was literally on all these dating websites, probably conversing with probably 4 to 6 different men. Okay. So this is how distorted this was. I had no idea that any of this was going on.
Right.
Not even a little bit.
It's like as bad as we think it is when people go this route and they find out it's far beyond worse than you even thought.
Yes. Yeah. Complete shock. I had no idea. And boy, did she get, like I said, she got so pissed off. Like that was her little secret little world. And how dare, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yet here we are. And quite honestly, we had actually married and then divorced and then married again, divorced later on. So it was even more than one marriage that, that we had gotten together, just trying to reconcile it. But I just always felt distant from her. You know what I mean? Just distant, like she was never there. And then, when you realize what the hell is going on, you're like, holy crap. It was a complete shock. And I know you'd had that one guest on that was so upset about being lied to for 9 years. Well, this was like 20 years, Trace. 20 freaking years of this.
Yeah. And she kept, we've had sessions. She was one that she knew exactly how to play on your heartstrings to get you right back to where she wanted you, which was to just be at her beck and call whenever she wanted to see you, whenever she wanted to have sex, whenever she wanted to dissolve the relationship, whenever she wanted to fix the relationship. You and I have talked about this before too. You really do. You do see now how they do it. Like I know when we talked, you said the first time that you ever found out that she was doing this and you were married, like it was the most devastating feeling. And I know that most of us can relate to that feeling of just like, I can't believe I'm married to this. Like, I can't even believe that this is my life. And, and you talk about the spiritual aspect of things too. It's like, there is something to be said for people that have the spiritual side to them and are very forgiving. And then we go down that rabbit hole, right? And it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And like you said, years go by with this. You keep forgiving them. They keep telling you they're going to go get help. They say everything under the sun. Oh, I'm going to go to sex addict class. I'm going to go get baptized. They'll say whatever they have to do to get you right back in line to where they want you. But at the time you're thinking, this is a desperate person that needs help. I can't turn my back on them. I'm going to stick by them, And with a man, we were talking about this too. Women, the woman narcissist is so unbelievably cunning and seductive and right. I remember when I had asked Dennis, I was like, she must be very attractive. And you're like, yup. Yeah.
Yes. Conniving. And literally, I honestly think it's almost like a split personality with her.
Yes.
I really do. It's something deeper than, you know what I mean? You take a look at a normal person and then take a look at that. It's just like, what? You know what I mean? You're showing me one side of you and you're showing obviously on another guy, on the other side of you. And I think I almost know what she was trying to get at. When you first meet, you're on this high of, lovey-dovey, flying on the clouds, whatever you want to call it. I think she was always just trying to get that. She was always just trying to seek that, once it, it didn't take her very long to just discard me. I honestly, I was probably within the first month that I felt a very steep decline. Well, come to find out, I'm sure she was pursuing, and I don't even know, and when we would try to get back together, she would tell me things that happened. But what scares the hell out of me is that the stuff she didn't tell me. You know what I mean? How far did it go? And I knew she's allergic to latex. She never used freaking protection, Tracy. She never used protection. And this is a girl that probably at least a dozen men that I know of. So I got to assume there's at least a dozen more that I don't know of one night stands and, whatever, party in the bathroom. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
They're like thrill seekers of danger. I swear to you all, that they actually get off on the fact of, oh, maybe I'll get a disease. Like I mean, and maybe I'll give it to my partner. Like I swear that it's like just going on a roller coaster for them. You know, and you and I are one of the lucky ones. But I'm going to tell you guys out there listening to this right now, you don't understand how quickly your life can change overnight by staying with a dangerous person like this. I can't tell you the amount of people that contact me on the daily that have a disease because of their narcissist. So if you're listening to this, this is serious stuff, guys. And you know, you're hearing the low down and dirty of where they go. You know, like I said, Dennis, you and I were one of the lucky ones. I mean, I still am paranoid. It's been years, you know, since I've been with anyone, but it's not that everyone needs to know that, but it's it's this paranoia that when, you know, when I found out my ex-husband was cheating on me, okay, it's this, I still, you know, I'm still worried to this very day. What if he gave me HIV? You know what, I still get constantly tested because I'm scared. It's a scary, it's traumatizing. It's traumatic, horrible. And you know, and I know because you and I've talked to you, when you think that you love someone and you think you actually view them as like being sick, like they're sick, like they're an animal, you know, I need to help them. And that's how they pull you in, though. That's how they want you to think that way about them. Feel sorry for me. You know, but she,
Oh
you
my
know,
God, Trace,
go ahead.
the crocodile tears that she would cry when she needed something or wanted to manipulate me, that she could turn those on in 0.5 seconds.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And they really, it's so convincing. But what they're really crying about is, please, they're saying to themselves, please God, let me to continue to have this lifestyle. Just like you said, they will be doing this for as long as they can do it for, until, you know, until they're finally 6 feet under. So having this realization, and you're now how old, Dennis?
I am 53.
53. You've had this realization, and you know, now you've gotten your hands on some education, information, wisdom, knowledge through YouTube, right? And now you're like, okay, I need to get away from this person, correct? Is that what was kind of going through your mind? Like, I have to get her out of my life.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And it was, for me, it was more, not even, you know, it's not the physical attraction. Looking back on it, it was, the loneliness, the psychological addiction, I think, for me.
Yes.
You know, just being lonely. And I don't know, my brothers don't seem to, I have one older brother and one younger brother. They don't have a problem with that, but I do. So,
yeah. Well, this is a big part of your life that you gave to someone that, you know, you were used to having a person there. It's like my other you know, guest I had on my channel, Laura, was talking about you know, she actually had a beautiful marriage with someone for that many years. But my point is, when you've made that, when you've had that kind of a lifestyle for as long as you have, it's very difficult to overcome that hump. And I think that's where a lot of people actually get stuck. I believe this is exactly where people get stuck. They view that part of going through that, you know, you have to go through to get out, you know, but going through that whole tunnel of, oh my gosh, I'm going to be alone, I think scares people so much so that they keep going back to these unhealthy people and these unhealthy patterns. Do you believe that too, Dennis?
Definitely. Yep. And I was dependent on her for a lot of things. While I was always out working in the field, she was always making the phone calls, taking care of appointments. So I think it was a lot of, codependency, literally relying on her to do too much of what needed to get done and not doing enough myself. And feeling insecure about that.
Yes.
But I definitely do think it's a thrill for them. That's, lying is part of that thrill. It is. It's got to be some type of high for her to lie, and it's all got to be part of it. It has to be. It has to be just seeking validation.
100% it is. It's 100% that for these malignant ones, they really do get off on getting away with things. It is. It's a thrill. Even the drama in itself, watching somebody get really upset, getting and in that getting away with things piece, feeling like they got away with something. Yep.
Yes, and no consideration for my health and well-being when it really comes down to it. No protection ever. She was allergic to latex, so I mean, you can't. Here I am, yeah, keeping my fingers crossed as well.
These
Oh, and
people.
another thing. Here's another thing. I was just going to say, we had tried counseling once. She had sat there the whole time crying about how mean of a person I was, and the counselor was female, okay, and the whole time she's crying and saying I'm a bad person, and I could see the counselor looking at me slanty-eyed, like, who the hell are you, or you know what I mean? I could feel the counselor siding with her, and then later on, after I'd put the monitoring software on, come to find out she was actually lining up an appointment to screw this one guy. So I don't know if I can say that or not, but while we were in the counseling sessions, while she's pretending to be the victim and in the, I'm such a bad guy, she's plotting and, at the same time, plotting to be with another guy. So what does that really tell you about counseling? Oof. With a narcissist?
I went through this too, Dennis. I went through the exact same thing. They're playing roles all day long. That was the role of I'm the married person trying to fix my marriage. Woe is me. My wife does, or my husband does A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Meanwhile, just like you said, they get out of that counseling appointment, they get in their car, and then they're setting up something with somebody else to be a different, they're being a different person. Yeah. Sick. It's sick.
Yeah.
It does
and,
such.
I don't.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it just does such. It warps your brain, like going through something like this. It really messes people up on all levels. On all levels, your self-esteem, your confidence, your but that's what they want. It's almost, it's a constant thing of, no, I'm going to go do this, but I know that I'm making them feel like crap about themselves. So they're going to be so weak, they're never going to leave me. That's their mentality. They know it.
Mm-hmm.
They're what?
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
I was just going to say, she just had me wrapped around her finger, and I just literally felt powerless to do really, towards the end, at least, to even make a decision. Tracy, you think about often yourself because you're just literally powerless, and that's basically when everything changed for me anyway.
Yeah, when you started feeling that way, you said, "Okay, I got to do something."
Right. Yep. Yeah. I just knew what in the hell is going on? Oh, and here's another thing. Plastic surgery. That's another thing that she did. She had a facelift about 10 years ago. And December 1st, a month ago, she's 53. She got a boob job at 53.
Oh, God.
At 53, she got a boob job. No, not you would tell, you tell me what kind of person is that does that for male validation, because obviously she's losing her looks. You know what I mean? It's all downhill for her. And, look what she's doing at 53. How ridiculous and how vain is that, Tracy, at 53 to get a boob job?
You know what? I'm so glad though. This is giving so many people out there, Dennis, inspiration, because I've watched, your journey through all this and how far you have come, like in your own mind, in your own spiritual journey, in your own, as your own person evolving from all of this, through all of this. And if you can do it, it's other people out there need to understand you can restart your life all over again. You really now look at her differently. Like you don't see the same person. And didn't that only start, Dennis, when you finally got away from her? You finally didn't talk
Yeah.
to her anymore. You finally didn't see her every day. I try to explain this to my clients all the time, that any correspondence you have with these people, it keeps you tied to them. It keeps this thing going. And you know, in some regard, it's never going to stop if you don't get away from them to be able to heal, to be able to see, like, to have clarity on these people. When you're in it, you don't see it, right? Excuse me.
Right. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. And oh, go ahead. You're going to say something.
I was just going to say and I would say if people really want to move past this, and I recommend this to everybody, is the person that really helped me the most is Ross Rosenberg. If
Yeah.
you want to look up his tapes, he talks about self-love, and that's basically what codependency is it's not really even a codependency. It's a lack of self-love. You don't love yourself enough to be respected. You don't respect yourself. You don't love yourself. So how the hell is anybody else going to do that for you? It's
Yeah.
impossible. It's impossible. You got no respect and no love. And when you are alone, it's all these, and I've always realized that, like, especially when I was younger, like I could never be alone because these thoughts creep in, and although, they're not the best thoughts, or self-pity or whatever you want to call them. So, but I don't know, something just happened. My 53rd birthday was in August, and for whatever reason, what had happened is that she had, obviously we're both running this business, and what I had found out was that she had another friend. Of course, she said it was platonic, and she was telling all her other friends not to tell me about this male platonic friend she had. Well, obviously, come on, what is she doing with a male? Being a friend, just a friend with a male? That's freaking impossible with a narcissist. You know what I mean? That's the whole purpose of it. There's another thing I looked up, somatic narcissist. That's literally a sexual thing where it's energy and conquering and moving, you know what I mean? That this pattern of sexual conquest. And I think she was probably leaning a little more towards being a somatic narcissist. So if you want to search that up, that was very interesting to find out what that was all about. And honestly, I think I know a lot of people like that. You know what I mean? That think that this is having sex with someone is the conquest. That's the goal. And then once that's over with, it's on to the next one, and on to the next one, and on to the next one.
Yes.
It's like a vampire sucking the energy out of people, basically. That's what it comes down to. And she's even aware of that. One of the things that we studied was some of these ancient Toltec religion, where they talk about how people can steal energy from each other. And she admitted to me once, I feel like sometimes when I'm having sex that these little feelers come out and they take the men's energy. So she's even aware. What kind of person does that make you, to be aware that you're actually like sucking someone's energy and then you still do it when you're aware of that? I mean, that's almost, you know what I mean? It's diabolical. It's not not very nice. You really think about it. But she knows what she's doing and still does it.
Wow. You and I are in a full agreement that they've got a demonic control over them for sure, for certain. There's no doubt about it. But they do have moments. They all do, where they give themselves away. They make these statements. They say exactly who they are. You just have to be listening for it. And they will admit things, throughout throughout your time with them. They'll have these moments that they forget, and they'll just come out with it. Mm-hmm. And you'll never forget what they said. You'll never forget. Mm-hmm. But I love that you mentioned Ross Rosenberg. Yes, he's somebody I always forget to plug on my channel. And even if guys, because I know I have a lot of people that'll tell me, oh, no, I still have self-esteem. I still have self-confidence. It has nothing to do with that. These people just came in my life and, wreaked havoc. Well, I think what ends up happening, and his theory about this, he calls it self-love deficit disorder, is eventually that is what happens to you. You stay long enough, you don't love yourself. You can't possibly love yourself staying with unhealthy people like this.
No.
Through time.
No way.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Yeah. Yes. Through time, you do have a self-love deficit disorder, 100%. And I believe he's the one that coined that whole notion. He coined the whole idea of this, of what happens when you stay around narcissists or you're raised around narcissists, is that you have this deficiency and you have to learn how to love yourself again. So Dennis, how
Right.
is life
And
been? Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, and if you don't take care of the problem, and this is what happened to him, he kept repeating the same pattern: married a narcissist, married another narcissist, married another narcissist. You can't, unless you realize that, and part of it is really admitting that I had a problem with it. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to admit that, you always want to say, oh, it's all their fault, the narcs, all this, but it is. You got to say, hey, well, I was part of that. You know what I mean? I chose
Yeah.
to stay in it. I take some of that responsibility for that. So,
Yes.
yeah.
I'm a firm believer, and I know that people don't want to hear that. Nobody wants to be hearing this, but I am a firm believer that at some point you have to say to yourself, okay, my ego needs to go to hell. My ego is not going to fix this person. My ego is they're not gonna look at me like the best thing since sliced bread. They're not gonna look at me as that person that was loyal and honest and trustworthy and kind and good-hearted to them. They're not gonna see me as I see me, or whatever. At some point you have to say, get over yourself and move along to someone that is going to see you for everything you have and be able to bring something to the table and meet you halfway at least, right? I mean, my
Yes.
theory now, I don't care what the heck happens in my life. If you don't enhance my life, you got to go. If you're, if you even any way, shape, or form deplete, or take from me, or make me feel like that is what you're doing, absolutely not. You know what I mean? Like, you got to go. You got to go. You don't bring anything into my life other than take. I don't think so. It's a no-brainer.
Right.
But
Yeah.
so how long now has it been since you have completely said forget it, and felt this wave of like, I feel like I'm getting, you were saying you feel like you're gaining control back over into your life again, correct?
Yes. Yeah. And like I said, it seemed to all just happen around my 53rd birthday. And I don't know what it is with 53 in me, but everything just seemed to, like I said, I detached, really, is detached psychologically. That's the biggest thing, because she sold me her half, the business that we own together. She has finally sold me her half of it. So I'll be taking over the business, and we're still dealing with each other. But when I do spend time with her, at the end of all the previous years, I would always feel a kind of closeness with her, a kind of, how do you say, just a psychological feeling of closeness. I don't feel that anymore. When I spend some time with her, or she's been training me on the computer, I walk away and I just feel empty. I feel like there's no, and that's a good thing for me, because I just don't want to feel that way anymore. And I just want to focus on getting a good woman in my life and having a good relationship and a meaningful relationship, the way it's supposed to be, not the way that this shit all went. Because Tracy, it was hell. It was hell the whole time. You're just wondering when the next time is you're going to get shit on. When's the next time you're going to get, you don't trust her after 35 years. You don't trust a person. Well, what the hell good is that relationship?
Exactly.
No.
Well, and I know everybody else out there, we really appreciate you coming on to tell your story. It's not easy to do. But it's helping so many people out there. And I can't thank you enough. It's going to give a lot of males out there perspective that, if you don't watch out, this could be a major chunk of years of your time. Or, you have to understand that at any given point in time, the best part about life is that you really can hit the restart button on your life, start over again, and it's going to be worth it, because now you have wisdom and knowledge of people out there that you never had previously. You'll never let that happen to you again, Dennis. I can guarantee it.
Never.
And what's happened to me, and I know it's happened to a lot of people that have come out of narcissistic abuse, it's like the minute you catch somebody doing something crummy, and they don't fix it, or they don't care to, or all it is word salad, and it goes nowhere. They're not proving by their actions that they mean anything they say. They're out of there. You don't even think twice about it. It's like, absolutely not. I'm going to build the life I want, keep and maintain the great friendships I already have, and invite, good, healthy people into my life. And I know the same is going on right now for you, Dennis, and it's going to continue to go on. It's going to be amazing to see what happens for you a year from now, 2 years from now. And I know, already the progress you've made and the way you feel. I remember the first time we got on a session, it was like actually hearing two different people. You were you had understood all of it, but it was still very painful. That this is the end. Like I can't. It happens for everybody. You literally get to a place that you're like, I can't do another round of this. I won't. Someone's got to get off the ride, and the narcissist will never get off the ride. They'll stay on that ride as long as you and I would have let them, or anybody else out there would have let them, right?
Tracy,
So,
I tell the people that are closest to me, I said, it wouldn't surprise me if she ever ends up in a nursing home. She'll be one of those women banging every guy in the nursing home. You know what I mean? Seriously, it's funny to think about, but some people are just like that. You know what I mean? They just can't stop. They're just going to just do whatever they want. And Tracy, she is the exact same person that I met when she was 19, promising me, oh, we're going to spiritually, we can grow. And she is the exact same college girl party, pull your pants down and party girl that she was when she was 19. The same exact person.
yes,
Yep.
they don't evolve, they don't grow. They actually they don't mature at all. These people are so immature,
Not even a little, Tracy.
They're pushing 60 and they're going after 20-year-olds.
Yeah. And it wouldn't surprise me if she's doing God knows whatever. I don't want to know, but nothing would surprise me. And I'm talking hiring gigolos at her age. I'm serious. Like literally nothing would surprise me, and it wouldn't surprise me if she's already done it. So whatever, I don't care.
I have friends that are nurses in these nursing homes, and they said that this is exactly what they do. And then these elderly people in the nursing homes are walking around with herpes on top of their other ailments. I mean, this is where they're headed, guys. It's a one-way ticket to, to her, God, to AIDS. I mean, it's just, they don't care. They don't care. That's the worst part about all of it, is like, you realize that these are human beings, but they're actually not, they have the meat suits on, but inside of them, they're just, there's nothing there. It's this black hole, it literally is black hole sun. It's Soundgarden. Dennis and I share a love for rock and roll music, so we always have to talk about music and I love that you brought that into the interview about how the songs, you bring up such a great point, Dennis, about how these songs make us feel like, oh, it's all okay, because see, they can't live without, I'm going to keep on loving you.
Yes. Oh my God. And yeah, I can't even listen to that old stuff anymore. I can't, and I won't. I don't even understand the people that do. But I tell you what got me with you, Tracy, was when you were wearing the Def Leppard T-shirt. When I first saw you wearing those, who is this lady? And but I came on to do this interview just to really help people. And the number one piece of advice is listen to that little inner voice. Listen to that little inner voice, because it'll be screaming you, something's wrong, something's not right. And you know what I mean? You'll even get people making comments. You'll get her making comments. And I guess I just ignored that little child, that little inner child that's within me.
Yes.
I just kind of told him to shut up, face the corner. And he's been sitting in the corner for the last 35 years crying. So yeah, that's going to change, and that is changing. He's come out, and I'm going to listen to him, and I'm going to treat him like the little king he is, and it's going to be me and him for the rest of my time on this earth, and just listen to that little child, because your little voice is always going to tell you what's going on, and don't ignore it, because it's not worth it. Some people that are just not worth it. And, if they just don't have the empathy, they just don't have the understanding. I really just don't even think she thinks she's hurt me. Like, you get false apologies and, oh, well, whatever, that, well, I just, this little, basically this innocent little victim that, oh, it just happened, bullshit. I would put money on it that, judging from when we first got together, she was actually the aggressor. Yes. And believe me, she was prepping all of her little body parts for a night, with a stranger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yep.
Hey, go ahead. Good luck with your life with strangers, and let me know how it turns out, because you know what I mean? She doesn't have, she's one of those people that doesn't have any no childhood friends, no long-term friends, nothing, nothing. So whatever. Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah. They don't have friends. And the friends that they do have the same exact mindset as they do. It's the same immature mindset, the woe is me victim mentality, and or they're narcissists just like them,
oh yeah, because they can encourage behavior within each other. Sure, of course they're going to encourage that. You bet. Yep.
Well, I'm so happy that you got the courage to get out and stay out, and your life's gonna, and God's gonna thank you for it. He does, because, the people out there that believe that there is a God that is bigger than ourselves, or you believe in the universe, whatever the universe, grants justice and peace and freedom and all those things. It's very true. You're never going to get blessings when you have crummy people in your life, because they're just taking from you. They're depleting you of your own worth, your own value, your own, your talents and the things that you were God-given, you were born with. And so they will take that from you. They will send you on this journey towards nowhere real quick. And the next thing you know, like myself, like other people out there, we turn around and the big chunk of our time has been with the wrong people, and you don't want that, guys. So for those of you listening, and you might be in the beginning years with a crummy person, you have to understand that this can set your sails. And like we were talking about, what Ross Rosenberg talks about, if you don't get healing, and you don't get yourself together, and you don't get the right help to get on this path towards healing, you will continue to attract these people, because you wouldn't have fixed what's going on inside of you to continue to allow these type of robots into your life. So that's the message today. And thank you again, Dennis, for coming on. And please leave comments for Dennis, or comments that you have, perhaps sharing your story as well, so that other people can read and learn. And I am Trace Face, and it's time we all face the truth together.